Just to be clear, about Kingston, Ontario, I've talked a lot of shit over the years, especially about police detectives. But, I might have been a little bit more shyer to talk about Detective Chris Cooks of the Kingston Police. But since I've pretty much gone to war with the Toronto Police and pretty much everyone else in the city of Toronto for the last 4 years, I might as well bring up Detective Chris Cooks of the Kingston Police. If you don't know, my father is a pedophile piece of shit who pretty much tortured me since I was a young child. My earliest memory of, being abused by my father was when I was sleepwalking and I found myself in the kitchen, just confused. And that's when I knew my father was evil, because he likely gassed me with a cloth and a butane lighter. He was gassing me. So that might explain early on as a kid why I had sleep paralysis and sleep apnea, as well as other sleeping issues, sleepwalking, right? That's one of them. But if you want to know someone's criminal profile, a good thing is going through the list of crimes that person may commit. And if they commit enough crimes, logically, they're not going to put all this evidence in multiple places. They're just going to compile this criminal evidence in one place in order to conceal and hide it. So that's what I think my father did, as he was probably in an illegal industry. My father was a consultant, as he would say. He was selling plastics at the time all through my childhood for Kimco. He was a consultant for other places. And he brought me all around Ontario on car rides, I guess. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, I don't know for sure. My father, he said he wanted to be a CSIS agent. He wanted to be a foreign communications officer. But, my mom always told me that he was trying to smuggle me out of the country, right? She found some papers that would signify he was trying to reach the Malaysian consulate, and that he was trying to get me a dual citizenship without her knowledge. Now, I actually found these papers in a file cabinet that was locked with everything else. I would bring this compilation of evidence to Detective Chris Cooks of the Kingston Police, and what was also contained with the locker, not only just the letter with the Malaysian consulate, there was a binder with color-coded writing, like a gel pen. If you watch my Fort York and Bathurst body, there was, some color-coded stuff there. That's how I think I first encountered color coding in general, right? Stupid as it is. That's why I understand the criminal concept of it. There was a journal or a ledger that I gave to Chris Cooks, and it listed off pinball machines, Jurassic Park, Terminator, all these different pinball machines. There was 2 papers that were Rayhill Gaming, so I'm assuming that's where the pinballs came from, right? Because my father, when we were younger, there was a flea market in Collins Bay, and through that person, I believe he met the pinball machine guy or whatever. Later in life, I would go to the Toronto Reference Library and I would look at their archives, and I would pretty much see that in the Kingston phone books, there was no such shell companies, Rayhill Gaming and Rayhill Construction. And the fact that they both say Rayhill, I mean, pinball machines have nothing to do with construction. Construction has nothing to do with pinballs. Therefore, if they were 2 shell companies, it's pretty telling, right? And that's what it is. So, I believe my father was illegally, as a consultant, he was shipping these pinball machines overseas. And the color coding was one journal that listed, I think, women's clothing, and then another color-coded gel pen journal that was color-coded with these pinball machines. And I think these women correlated to these pinball machines. And knowing my father, it could have been child pedophilia. So when I brought this to Chris Cooks, I said already and before, because of his compilation, my father wanted to be a CSIS agent. He was a consultant. He wanted to do steel shipping and all that. In the notes, there was a dragonfly pendant, and he was trying to smuggle that. That's what it looked like. There was the cloth and the butane lighter there. There was the Malaysian consulate letter. There was an envelope, which he told me when I was younger about secret spy work. And he said that if you didn't cut the wire, it was yes. And if you did cut the wire, it was no. And there was an envelope with the address on the inside, which I could not read because I didn't open the letter. And there was one thin fabric piece of string in that envelope for whatever sketchy reason, right? But yeah, what else did I leave out? Oh yeah, there was the picture. My cousin, I think he got in trouble in Malaysia. He came over to Canada, and I think he brought a young woman from Europe to meet my father. And at the time, I didn't understand what the picture was about, but the picture was a younger person. But because, everyone in the room was older than me, I just assumed her age was closer to them. So I found it confusing that my cousin from Malaysia was flirting with this girl. And I found it even stranger when she started flirting with my father. And I didn't really understand the context till I was older. But I had the photo, and I gave this entire compilation album to Detective Chris Cooks. So my father, said he wanted to be a CSIS agent. He was a consultant. Yeah, I do believe he was trying to smuggle me into the country, into Malaysia. All this different evidence compilation, Detective Chris Cooks just shot it down. And I think there's a reason for that, because I don't know who, my father may not even know some of the illegal dealings he was doing. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because, I don't usually like to get into people's business, but I wanted, of all people, my father to be punished for abusing me as a child. It pretty much just set my life up for failure. I was so traumatized. I never had any love in my life. I couldn't do anything. So of all the evil people that I wanted to be punished, I definitely wanted my father to be punished. And that's why I'm bringing it up. Later in life, my father had a friend, actually. And he tried to get me to stay at this house. A friend of mine told me he was sex assaulted at a house across from the Tim Hortons in Collins Bay. And there was also a rumor that police were staging people there to get sex assaulted. So, my father's friend is very well known in the Filipino community. I think my father was going to set me up to be sex assaulted there. And the codes to the doors were literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So later that night or that day when the doors were open, I thought it was very creepy. And there was a bunch of other stuff. There was baby shit in the toilet that they said they didn't use. They didn't live there. They said a bunch of stuff. They said, there's a game board, chutes and ladders, poop chute. There was baby shit on the floor. It was just really weird. So I checked myself into a psych ward, and I said, fuck that place. Right? So just a lot of sketchy shit, man. And I know that there was an email between my mom and Detective Chris Cooks. So if there was a child sex industry there, it's really sus that he didn't bring it up. And I'm bringing it up now.